Last night, the Celtics showed us why they had the regular season's best defense around the NBA. Let's see. Jaylen Brown, yeah, I'm going to tell my kids that was Michael Jordan. Went for 30 points, and the Celtics even the series against Milwaukee. Here's our panel this morning, by the way. Jeff Pratt, DraftKings contributor, and DK Nation's Chinmay Vaidya. I think Julian Edlow was supposed to be here. Who the hell knows what happened to him? Guys, last night, Jeff, your boys showed up, dude. Your boys showed up. They dominated on both ends. That was a performance unlike anything I've seen. And look how happy Jaylen Brown is, a.k.a. Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I was very happy with the results last night. The Celtics brought exactly what they brought in game one defensively, but offensively, it was just a complete 180. They're going to live and die by the three in this series. They took 50 in game one, didn't work out. They took 43 last night, and they hit on just under 47% of them. Between Giannis and Brook Lopez, there's just not much room to operate down low, but I do think the Celtics did a much better job of creating open looks on the perimeter by driving into the paint. Just because you're not taking a lot of twos doesn't mean you aren't putting in the work down low. So I like their offensive system a lot more yesterday. I think they answered the call in terms of making adjustments as to what the Bucks showed them in game one, and I think the rest of the series is going to be a battle.
Yeah, dude, 23s made by Boston. You know how many Milwaukee made? 3. Chinmay, yeah, like crazy, right? Chinmay, take me to the late game. Like the Grizzlies, the Ja Morant experience, like Golden State was up front and center for that thing. He scored 47 points, including his team's final 15 in a row, dude.
Yeah, that was absolutely a let me put my team on my back and even this series type of performance from Ja Morant. And I think the most important thing here is that the Warriors now will be without Gary Payton for the foreseeable future with the elbow fracture. And he suffered that on the flagrant 2 foul that Dylan Brooks committed within 3 minutes of the game. So there's already some bad blood now between these two teams. And it just got taken to a whole nother level with that flagrant foul and subsequent ejection. We'll see what happens back in the Bay. But the Warriors are going to have to figure something out to stop the Grizzlies point guard, because if he keeps going for 40-plus points, it's going to be very tough to defeat the Grizzlies in this series. And Golden State shooters haven't been doing as well as we've expected them to in the postseason. Curry's been on and off. Klay Thompson has been struggling outside of that game-winning 3 that he had in game one. He really didn't do that much from the perimeter. So the Golden State shooters have to do much better, but we'll see what adjustments they make on defense, because if Ja keeps going for that, it's going to be tough for Golden State to win this series.
Yeah, Jules, welcome to the show, dude. Big takeaway, Morant, willed Memphis to a crucial win. That's obviously an effort that's going to be remembered for a long time, but also Giannis quickly finding out what Kevin Durant did. Boston can guard you and will guard you with anybody on their roster.
Yeah, I mean, quick reaction to Celtics-Bucks is that was a must-win game for the Celtics. That series is over if you go down 2-0. Losing your 2 home games. And history tells us that every team that has ever done that in the conference semis at home has lost, besides the 1994 Houston Rockets. So you're not going to win the series if you win that game. You had to win that game. They came out hot and did so. And were great defensively without the defensive player of the year. On the other side, nice win for Memphis. They're in trouble. They have no shot at winning this series. It took 47 points from Ja Morant, 47, 8, and 8 from Ja Morant, with the Warriors shooting 18% from downtown. And they still needed a Scott Foster bailout call to secure that win. This is a nice win for Memphis, but they have no shot in the series.
Okay, Jules, let's move to tonight. Still no Embiid for Philly in game 2. Miami, a heavy favorite, 8.5 is the spread. Minus 425 on the money line. Dude, did you see anything in game 1 that kind of makes you think that Philly can steal game 2?
Not really. Maybe their minutes late in the second quarter and first quarter with DeAndre Jordan on the bench. Somewhat encouraging. But for the most part, Doc Rivers, who, tough spot without Embiid, but you can still do a better coaching job. You don't have to start DeAndre Jordan, and they're going to. So for me, that just secures that I want to be putting my money on the Heat early in this game, first to 20 points. For first quarter, anything like that. And yeah, the only thing that's a bigger lock than the Heat winning tonight is you having a bathing suit on under the desk.
Oh my God, how did you know I had a bathing suit on under the desk? You're not even here in studio. Your sources,
Lucky guess.
yeah, you're using the force today. Good boy, Julian. All right, it's now Jeff. Now 8 points is the spread. Miami, an 8-point favorite at home, and minus 400 on the money line. What kind of faith, if at all, do you have in the 76ers evening this thing up without Joel Embiid?
I don't have much faith, Emerson. I think there are definitely areas that Philly can attack to make this a closer contest, but I don't think they can win this one. I was really impressed by Tobias Harris in game one. When Philly traded for James Harden, he became the team's fourth option due to the emergence of Tyrese Maxey. But Harris is still a gifted scorer, and he took advantage of his best trait, which is his size, against the Heat in the first game of his series. He was getting to his spots with ease, taking the shots that he wanted, really just bullying anyone that tried to guard him. If he can keep that aggressiveness up and we get more from James Harden and Tyrese Maxey offensively, I think this could be a closer game. The Heat are never going to put you in the ground offensively. They create their separation on the defensive side of the ball. If Philly can be more productive in this game, I consider taking them +8, but in reality, Miami's probably going to go up 2-0 in this series.
All right, Chinmay, what's your prediction tonight here?
Yeah, it's hard to see the Sixers winning this one outright, but I do think the 8-point spread is a decent spot for Philadelphia. You know, they did have some good second quarter minutes. They actually did have a halftime lead in game one, and James Harden was not James Harden in that game. And I think with Joel Embiid out, the Sixers obviously have prepared for Joel Embiid being out, but it's very different to then go into a game against a tough Miami defense and immediately start having success with your game plan that wasn't going to have Embiid. So I do think there's a spot for Philly where Tobias Harris continues to do what he's doing. Tyrese Maxey has a better game, and James Harden, most importantly, has a better game. We'll see if Doc Rivers is stubborn enough to keep running DeAndre Jordan out there for like 25 plus minutes. And if that happens, then sure, Miami is going to cover this thing easy. But if Doc figures out that, hey, maybe everybody else in the world knows something that I somehow don't, and DeAndre Jordan is not going to be getting extended run in this game, then maybe Philly does cover the 8-point spread. But I don't see the Sixers winning outright. Definitely will take Miami outright in this one.
Okay, so Chinmay, let's go to Dallas here. Dallas and Phoenix. We know that Luka's one-man act fell short in game one. Those 45 points, extremely impressive. Are you expecting much of the same results in game two? We got a 6-point favorite here, the Suns are.
I do think it'll still be a close game, actually. I think Dallas has made some of the best defensive adjustments throughout the season. Jason Kidd has done a phenomenal job on that side of the ball for the Mavericks. And I do think Luka will be more of a distributor in this game because he realizes that it can't just be a one-man show. And the Suns will hone in on him defensively if he keeps doing that. So they need Jalen Brunson to step up, and they need Maxi Kleber to hit a few outside shots. Reggie Bullock is another guy that could be a key contributor for Dallas in this game. But I still would take the Suns here at home. I think Chris Paul has a bigger game than he did in game one, probably more of a distributing role for him. And I would take Phoenix still in this game. I still think the Suns are getting into their groove, and there's a reason they had the best record in the NBA in the regular season. Luka is phenomenal, but it'll take a jaw-like effort from Luka for the Mavericks to even have a chance in this game. So the better bet is with Phoenix here. Okay, Jules, what are you looking at here on the DK Sportsbook for this one? Like that late push that Dallas did make in that game, is that a silver lining at all?
It's not a bad thing. At least they showed some life, but that game was not as close as the final score indicated. Phoenix isn't as strong of a spot as Miami is tonight, but I think they're in a very strong spot at home. I agree. It's Suns or pass for me. They dominated that game for the most part, and this isn't like the Jazz are a mess, and that really helped Dallas in that series. They have a much tougher time with Ayton in the paint and his skill set than they do with a Rudy Gobert. And, like I said about Memphis, they snuck by in that game with 47, 8, and 8 from Ja. Dallas came back in that game with 45 on the road from Doncic. If he doesn't do that in this game, I don't know how it stays that close. So it's going to be the Suns for me with Booker back on the floor. They just have too much going for him.
Okay, who covers tonight, Jeff?
Phoenix does. Luka racked up 45 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists in game one, and it was still never in question for the Suns. This is just a continuation of what we've seen from the Mavs over the last few years in the playoffs. They aren't surrounding Luka Doncic with enough talent to compete against elite teams. Jalen Brunson's a great player. He's going to get paid this offseason, but he was horrible in game one, and even when he's at his best, it's probably still not enough to be a number 2 option. An offensive-minded player like Spencer Dinwiddie only scoring 8 points just isn't enough. The Suns don't have the best player in this series, but they have the second, third, fourth, and fifth best players, along with a better coach. Dallas just doesn't have enough to keep up with them. I'd take the Suns to cover.
All right, Jules, last one here. Which other bets should people be looking out for tonight on the DK Sportsbook? Any props, any alternate spreads, totals, anything like that?
For me, it's going to be back in Miami early. As soon as we get confirmation. I haven't seen it officially, I guess, but Doc Rivers said that DeAndre Jordan's going to start in this game. So I got to look at pricing, but give me Miami first to 10, Miami first to 20, Miami first quarter. It's not going to go well. He's like the worst player in the NBA by the numbers.
All right, Jeff, what about you?
I'm still laughing about DeAndre Jordan starting.
I don't
Honestly,
is he trying to get fired?
I hope so. Because there's no other explanation for it. I'm looking at a couple player props here, revisiting the Philly-Miami game. I'm going back to Tobias Harris here. His points prop is set at 19.5, or at least it was last time I checked on DraftKings Sportsbook right now. And for what we've seen from him throughout the series, I feel confident that he can hit that over. He was consistently looking for a shot and was by far Philly's most aggressive player in game one. This is a great matchup for him, as Miami doesn't have someone big enough to knock him off his spot. So I look for him to stay aggressive tonight. And then heading over to the Mavs-Suns game quickly, DeAndre Ayton over 19.5 points at plus money is very appealing as well. Between Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, and Dorian Finney-Smith, Dallas simply doesn't have anyone that can contain Ayton down low. He's hit the over on this number in 4 of his last 5 games, and I expect that streak to continue tonight.
Chinmay, any other bets you got an eye on for tonight?
Yeah, 2 player props, both at plus money the last time I checked. Bam Adebayo over 10.5 rebounds was plus money, and with no Embiid on the floor, that seems like a pretty easy one. And Chris Paul over 9.5 assists was also at plus money last time I checked. I know he's had a couple down games, and he's gone under in the last 2, but the 5 games previous to that, he was over and over quite easily. And I think Paul has more of a distributing role tonight. Devin Booker gets back into more of a shooting rhythm. So I like both of those player props, both at plus money. Feel like those are good spots to hit.